senior weekend, getting 2 wins at home. What were your thoughts on sort of the general overview of senior weekend?
Yeah, I'm happy that we came away with 2 wins. Those were really important for us. It's really important to win at home. I know I've said that multiple times. And then it's really important to win on senior weekend as well. Obviously, we only do the celebration on one day, but the whole weekend is a celebration of it. I'm proud of our team for coming away with it. It was a little bit dicey at times, but we were able to get all of our seniors in and a good chunk of our roster in as well against those teams. Those matches are tough to play because both of those teams that we played coming into the weekend knew that they were not in the playoffs, so they knew that that was their final portion of the season. So they're just going to play their best ball and try to knock off us, essentially. But, we were able to stay resilient and get those wins.
Friday, you have the solid first set, second set. Things look like they're pretty good, and all of a sudden, Saginaw Valley takes one from you. And how do you feel like that match progressed? Like you said, you were working seniors in, and some things worked, some things didn't. But kind of getting through that match.
Yeah, and we watched film of those moments as a team yesterday in our team meeting. We watched moments where we were doing all the right things. Nothing's ever perfect, but generally speaking, doing all the right things. And then we watched ourselves just make error after error or, not great touch after not great touch. So a lot of the focus is just on ourselves. The opponent's going to do whatever they do, but we have so much control person to person when we have the ball on our side of the net. And we tend to kind of muff it here and there or just not give a great ball to the next person to get them in the best or most optimal spot to make a good play. So the focus this week has been bettering the ball, meaning that when you have the ball, you need to improve the quality so that we can be more and more in system with every touch that we have.
Looking at what Rachel has done this season, I mean, yeah, she's leading you in kills, which she does, but it's where she's doing it from, whether it's middle, whether it's right side, whether it's left side. She's just sort of been everywhere for you.
Yeah, she's a really dynamic player, and she has a huge ceiling. So I'm excited to work with her more in the spring, particularly on the outside because, going into the season, we didn't really think that was going to happen. But then due to injury and, frankly, Maddie Torla doing wonderful things on the right side, then that position became more and more apparent that she needed to fill in on the outside. So I'm excited to get her some more reps in the spring and really work on her passing in particular. I think she'd be a great 6 rotation player. She's doing it in spurts for us right now with, to be honest, little to no training in it other than just, playing in practice. So yeah, I'm excited to, sink my claws into her a little bit and get her really rolling in the spring. But for right now, we're working through film. She's asking good questions. She's taking quality reps in practice. So I'm hoping that we can pull it together tomorrow.
How's the chemistry between her and Maddie, since they're out there on the court so much together?
Yeah, they're working through it. They're good friends. They're good people together off the court. So it's just continuing to develop that setter-hitter relationship. Maddie Kreider's been working really hard on making sure that she's pushing the ball all the way out. She plays with a lot of tempo, but sometimes it dies a little bit low and inside. And that's not specific to Maddie Kreider. Like if you look across the league, almost all the setters do that. That's just part of it. So we've been really developing her skill set on pushing the ball all the way out. We can have fast tempo, but also height. And Rachel jumps really well, so we need to have that height for her.
What do you like in how Paige has grown from the beginning of the season to now?
Paige has worked her buns off this whole season. She gets extra reps. A couple of days of the week, she has to come into practice a little bit late due to a class schedule. But, she takes really quality reps. She is always ready to go. You are getting the same Paige every single day. So you know exactly what you're going to get out of her. And she wants to win. She's probably one of the nicest people off the court that you'll ever meet. But on the court, we're trying to work on her having a little bit more of like an in-game persona where she doesn't need to be so nice and she can be a gamer and all that stuff. So she's working on that for sure. She's definitely learning how to use her voice in the manner of like, give me the ball again, and you're not offending anybody or anything like that. Like use your big girl voice and be like, give me the ball, or like, I can do this. We were going through some team stats yesterday and we are actually converting 60% of the time when Paige digs. So she's one of the middles can serve. So when she's serving and playing defense, 60% of this time when she digs, then we get a point, which is an astronomical number. So the girls are all joking. She's our second libero in a sense. So that's fun. And she's really growing into her own.
She also seems to be, it seems like late in sets, becoming more effective. Is that just something in the way she's playing, or is it just something that Maddie's kind of reading in the defense to get her the ball more, or what are you kind of seeing there?
Yeah, combination of things. I think Paige is definitely getting more confident in clutch moments, and she's, like I said, using her voice and is saying, give me the ball, I'm available, I know the route that is going to be best against this defense, so give me the ball. And then Maddie Kreider is a very aggressive play caller, so she is very comfortable of giving the middles the ball in imperfect situations. A perfect pass doesn't necessarily mean that you should set the middle, because usually the block is like right there. So we train a lot, and as do most teams, of setting the middle when you're slightly imperfect or when you're moving a little bit with the pass, because then the blockers are on their toes. They might think that you're going to go outside. So we tend to find our middles a little bit more when we say like mid-system type passing instead of like perfect in-system, just because it's a little less readable. But yeah, the combination of those two, they're both working on, being aggressive in those moments and being clutch.
What did you learn about Wayne when you had them up here that might apply to tomorrow?
Their serve receive can have a couple of holes in it. So we're really hoping that we can have tough service pressure in their gym and get them out of system so that they can not run their high-powered offense as much. Kayla Giroux is most likely going to be attacker of the year. I think those awards are going to come out in the next week or so. But statistically, she's leading the entire conference by over 100 points in hitting percentage, and she has the most kills, which is usually not a middle having the most kills, but she's just being lights out this season. So, we're going to weather the storm. When we were watching film yesterday, we watched all of ourself digging her or getting good block touches, and we got a lot on her when we played in our gym here. Part of it too is trying to sequester their right side, who did quite a number on us. So that's the beauty of having a middle like Kayla Giroux on that team, is that she is very, very efficient when she has the ball, but then when she doesn't get the ball, she's really distracting, and then the other players around her are like one-on-one or one-on-none, and they can go to town. So we need to be balanced in our defense. Like, obviously we need to be slowing down Giroux as much as we can, but we can't let her teammates, go off on us like they did when they were here.
Does that change your defense when there's a middle that's that dominant on the other side of the net?
Not necessarily. We just have to be more disciplined in it instead of lots of steps or, dancing before the ball gets here. You have to playing defense against a middle is really, really hard by design. That's why we set the middle. That's why everyone sets the middle, because it's really, really hard to defend. So a big part of it is just trusting that wherever you're at and being stopped is going to be good enough, and you can always move from that stop position. But it's really hard, and it's really easy to get caught up in feeling like you need to be a specific spot or like make a certain move instead of just being patient, seeing where the ball goes and reacting. It's hard because it is coming lightning fast. Keeping your eyes open is a big piece of it too. So, we work on that all the time in practices, like physically open your eyes, like as you're playing defense, and practice that move, because the human nature is to wince when it's coming. So it's really hard as volleyball players to train, stay open, and everything's a platform: head, shoulders, knees, all of it.
How does Trisha Kennedy fit into combating Giroux in a match like this?
Yeah, so we have to use our middle strategically. Obviously, we want to use them as much as we can. They're both hitting over 500 in transition, including Torla on the right side. They're over 450 combined. So we need to use them as much as we can. However, versus a big block, our middles have to be really good about taking angles on their approach, meaning not just going straight on square to the net. Otherwise, you're just asking to get roofed. So we really need to come in at sharp angles and create opportunities. We may not score cleanly like in the court, but we can create deflections. We can get them out of system, make them scramble and send a free ball over, whatever it is. So we can't get housed. That's the thing. We just meaning roofed. We can't do that. So we have to find ways to sneak past their block, or at least create opportunities for a little bit of disruption on their side.
Where do you feel like your serve receive is at this point?
Up and down. We train serve receive the majority of practice every single day. So it's a lot of a mental game. At times I think we overthink it instead of just put ball to target. It's easier said than done, right? But I think we're just overthinking it at times, and we get in our own heads. We get ace too much, in my opinion. And I would rather, just have it up in some capacity so we can create opportunities. It doesn't need to be perfect, and we say that every day. So we just need our players to buy in a little bit more as to just up and in the middle is good. It does not have to be perfect, but right now we're either perfect pass or aced, and we need to find that happy median in the middle.